Aggretsuko is an anime about a red panda girl working a 9 to 5, and it's still more relatable than King's Game. I know you're like, you can't compare those two. I really just wanted to take a jab at King's Game, and you know you would too. Retsuko is just like every other animal person. She shows up to her job, does her work, and then goes home. But when life catches up, Retsuko heads to her favorite karaoke bar and uses her personal microphone to belt out death metal to relieve her stress. Aggretsuko is all about life and finding your own way in that life, and explores the tough parts, but also the beautiful parts of it as well. This is Aggretsuko.
Work can bite me.
Aggretsuko is a tale about life and its hardships, one that can relate to many people, as Retsuko, our main character, works in a 9 to 5 at some firm in Japan. This is one of Aggretsuko's unique qualities, as there aren't too many anime in this setting specifically. As an example, the office setting plays into an integral part of the series and one of Retsuko's and the show's themes, office politics. There are two characters in this series, Tsunoda, an adorable deer character, and Tan, the boss of the office who is fittingly a pig. Tsunoda basically boosts Tan's ego and tells him what he wants so that she can get special treatment. But in turn, this usually falls on Retsuko to pick up the slack. I really like this touch, as it was a natural and meaningful way to make Retsuko's issues with the job obvious without being too obvious, and at the same time introducing and developing these characters pretty well. I'm sure there are many people out there who work these kinds of jobs and have to deal with office politics on some level. One of the many great things about this show is its ability to implement a multitude of subject matters and to develop them in 15 minutes. Throughout the story, I tried to make a list of the subjects the show explored. Here's a small one. Marriage, the grind of a job, relationships in the workplace, romantic and not, health, both physical and mental, not judging people based on their actions alone. And I'm sure there are more, but the subject matters they delve into are very well done and developed pretty well considering the factors I mentioned before. Not only that, but this anime seems to also introduce a lot of these subjects in the background. As an example, Retsuko initially starts talking about marriage, episodes before it's actually explored in its own episode. This is brilliant because it shows there is a lot of thought to how this series was laid out. Because of this, I do not think you can watch these episodes without seeing the whole thing. Just the way everything ties together makes it so, and it works out for the anime. Aggretsuko's characters are all anthropomorphic, meaning their designs and names are based off the animal they portray, Retsuko being a red panda, Tan being a pig, etc. But before we move on to my main point of this section, I wanted to mention that this anime pulls off this trope so well that I think it may be the best anime I've seen with anthropomorphic characters, at least in my opinion. The best part overall for this series are the characters. I mentioned some before with Tan and Tsunoda, but I want to talk about Fineko and Haida. Fineko is a Fennec fox. She is Retsuko's co-worker and loves to browse social media constantly and keep up to date on everything that's happening. Then we have Haida, a shy hyena who is sweet and kind, but too much for his own good and can't confess to Retsuko that he likes her. Now before I get into my main point, these are things that are initially introduced right off the bat for these characters. If you want a sub-example, here's one. The characters are just characterized pretty quickly and with seemingly no effort or long drawn-out exposition. Anyways, these two characters are a great backbone in the series. The relationship is basically Fineko trying to tell Haida he needs to confess, and her giving him all the details he wants, like if she's going out on a date or whatever it may be. But the reason they're so enjoyable is because they're both very relatable in the sense that you probably know people like them yourself. Fineko is a social media junkie. She analyzes every single post. That's pretty relatable, especially in today's climate, and I kind of do that myself sometimes. Then you have Haida, who is a hapless romantic with an unrequited love and is so shy, it's tough for him to confess his love and maybe never will. I myself know people like this and was like this at one point in my life. I think most of us are in some ways like that at times.
Don't panic. Your work shoes are waiting upstairs. If I see anyone before then, I'll do this weird arm dance and keep their attention off my feet. Yeah, seems legit.
Aggretsuko has a very simple art style. It's a CG anime that looks more like a cartoon. I would even go as far to compare it to something like Archer in the way it looks. It's also a key component in the series as it gives the show its unique feel. It looks cute and very simple for a reason, and that's because it's more focused on developing characters and being more down to earth. I also think this art style could become quite timeless as the years start to add up. I think that this is because the anime is so bright and colorful, and the character designs are very good and detailed, yet still retain a charm about them that will last for possibly decades.
Tsunoda! What's up with your arms? I'm dancing! Busted a move!
Probably the less interesting brother to the art. The animation is fine. That's about it. It's not going to have these amazing animations, nor should you really expect that. It gets by on what it does. And an example of that would be Retsuko's death metal face. The facial expressions are so on point because they likely spent the most time on them. While simple in the way it looks, the show can convey a lot of emotions, and is even a key factor in Retsuko's development in the last 2 episodes. And of course, Retsuko's death metal face. Probably the reason you clicked on this video, and is the most memorable aspect of Aggretsuko. What more is there to say? I mean, it's animated as well as you'd expect.
Wanna see a cute picture of my nephew?
Yeah, that's a picture of your nephew, alright.
Isn't he just adorable, Retsuko?
Don't make me say it.
So yeah, the score is probably not going to be noticed that much. But damn, is it good. I mean, to be honest, I expected nothing from the score besides Retsuko going death metal. But what they did with it was actually pretty impressive. There really is no metal score for this at all, and is basically your standard sounding score. But it does really make a lot of the scenes that much better. And without even a quarter of the music, the series wouldn't be as good as it is. And if it wasn't for the characters, I'd say this would be the best part of Aggretsuko. But at the same time, it's a detrimental part to the experience of the show, so don't sleep on this score.
Selfie, dessert, latte art. Selfie, dessert, latte art. Selfie, dessert, selfie, dessert, selfie, selfie, a thigh pic.
I am a huge Erica Mendez fan. Been a fan for years. She's got a voice that is just made for anime. Because of that, I don't think she can do poorly in a role. But this time, she's our main character in Retsuko. She pulls off this role perfectly, and it's brilliant. As for other characters, we have Finako, who is played by Caitlin Galt, who pulls off Finako perfectly as well, and I could go on. But I don't think there is anything wrong with this dub. It's also a dub that goes to an extra level to make it unique. They even get professional metal vocalist Jameson Bowes to sing Retsuko's death metal sequences, and they're the best part of the dub besides Erica. And there's a rap battle later on. So, yeah, Aggretsuko is really damn good, and if you're a functioning adult in the real world, not like me, then you need to watch this anime. It's an anime that is mature and tells a story that is relatable to those struggling and even prospering in today's crazy world we live in. So go out there, buy a Netflix sub to watch this anime. It's just 15 minutes an episode for 10 episodes, so what's the worst that could happen?